Finally, the moment we've all been waiting for, Google Plus, the best social media network in the world as voted by J.D. Power and Associates every single year, obviously, has been announced by Google to be shutting down. They're finally killing it off, and you might be wondering, why now? It sucked forever. Why would they kill it now? Well, it turns out all it took was a massive privacy vulnerability that exposed the private data of 500,000 users. That's all that had to happen this whole time, and we would have been rid of it forever. But finally, it's happening for good. So yeah, jokes aside, it is true that Google is shutting down Google Plus. In the next 12 months, they say by August 2019, it will be completely dead. And mainly they cited that it's because obviously it had such low usage. They say that it had low engagement, low usage, and that 90% of all Google Plus sessions were less than 5 seconds long, which basically means that a vast majority of people going on Google Plus pretty much did it by accident or realized, wow, this is so bad that they immediately, within 5 seconds, wanted to get it off. And yes, the other reason that I mentioned is that earlier in the year, Google discovered a vulnerability that, if it had been exploited, would have allowed the access of 500,000 users to be exposed by different applications. And they said like over 400 applications using the API would have potentially had access to this, and they say that they don't think anyone did actually look into it, but still, the fact that it was there, and they didn't tell anyone about it until just now, but it was fixed in March, so they decided to wait several months to even mention it. It's a bit sketchy, Google. Now, the information that this would have exposed wasn't a lot, so it was names, email addresses, occupations, gender, and age. So not phone numbers and not messages or G+ posts or anything like that. So really, it wasn't a big deal. This was mostly stuff that you might have posted publicly anyway, but still, the fact that they, didn't even say this is a bit suspicious. And you might be wondering, well, if it's not such a big deal, then why didn't they tell anyone in the first place? Why would they have cared? And the reason is that at the time was the whole Facebook scandal with the Cambridge Analytica incident. You may remember when Facebook exposed and actually had basically stolen millions and millions, like 80 million Facebook users' data, and it was used to advertise to. And this was pretty much the same thing, where app developers had access through the API to information they should not have had. And unlike Google Plus, where they don't think anyone accessed it, with Facebook, a ton of people had access to it and actually used it. And the internal memo that Google released basically said that Google didn't really want to be associated with this data breach, even though they pretty much did the same thing, and that it would be literally embarrassing. And they didn't want to be called in front of Congress to have to testify about how they screwed up, and they basically wanted to let Facebook take the brunt of this issue, even though there's a ton of companies that have crappy privacy in the first place. The fact of the matter is that companies really don't care about privacy at all. They pretend to, but when it comes down to it, you see with Google, if something actually happens, they don't even care to tell you about it. Now, funny enough, there is one law that apparently was passed in California. Now, California has some crazy laws, let me tell you. Remember when they banned straws? They actually did that. Well, sometimes California gets it right, and apparently they passed a law that I think by like 2020 it will require, or allow rather, people to sue companies that have data breaches for having crappy security. So personally, I like the idea behind that. It will force companies to actually take this kind of thing seriously. Though going back to Google Plus, like I said before, they mentioned that this is going to be totally shut down by August 2019, maybe even kind of start stepping things down before then. And one of the reasons they said, pretty understandable, was that after this vulnerability was discovered, they're like, you know what, this is just not even worth the work. And it's like, yeah, you think? Like, no one's used Google Plus ever. Though, ironically, Google has said that apparently they're going to be keeping Google Plus going as a corporate version only that could be used in corporations that have like a corporate social network and that it will be like a secure corporate network. So yeah, that's a great idea. Let's take the one thing that was just discovered to be not really secure and brand it as a secure corporate network. I think that's a great idea, Google. I think it's a bit fun always to think about why Google Plus failed. I have my own theories. I think there's a lot of reasons behind it. One of the main reasons, I think, is because they botched the launch. Now, you may remember back when Google Plus first came out, there was a lot of buzz about it. Everyone was talking about it. Everyone wanted to use it, but they had this stupid beta system. So they released it, they had all this buzz going, but you couldn't get in. You had to be invited by someone, and there's only a certain number of invites. So over time, the buzz kind of died down. And by the time they actually made it public, no one was using it anymore. No one cared anymore. The buzz was gone. So I think they should have released Google Plus to the public during peak buzz. Because when it comes to any social media network, the main thing you need is other users. If no one is using it, there's no point in using it. So you have to have as much people sign up simultaneously as possible and not this slow drip of invitations where you invite some people to the beta and they sign up and invite some people, but then they realize, oh, no one's using this, and then they stop. So then there's like never going to be a large amount of people using it ever, and this is compounded by the fact that it was kind of redundant. I mean, we already had Facebook. Facebook at the time was very, very popular. It still obviously is, but Facebook was kind of in its prime when Google Plus was released. So it's like, well, why sign up for this other one? If I can't even get in, it looks like no one's even over there. Who cares? And of course, Google tried to push it a lot of different ways over the years. Remember the whole debacle when they forced all YouTube accounts to link to a Google Plus account? That was a disaster. Everyone hated it, so much so that they, not too long after, decided, yeah, we're going to roll that back and disconnect it. And now they're just killing it off for good, and good riddance, to be honest. So yeah, I don't think there's much more to say than that. I think that both of the people who use Google Plus are now going to be very sad, and everyone else is just going to be like, thank God we don't have to deal with this crap anymore, and accidentally clicking on Google Plus links. It's so annoying. So yeah, you guys let me know what you think down in the comments. Are you someone who actually does use Google Plus? I don't know. Maybe you're one of the 2 people who are going to be sad about it. If you want to keep watching, you can watch some other videos I have on here. And if you want to subscribe and make a couple new videos a week, so it should be worth it. In the meantime, guys, thanks for watching. Be seeing you.